Are you ready for the best in Sooner football recruiting news? Then it's time to get locked in with Parker Thune and Grayson Singleton.
You better lock it up. No, you lock it up. You lock it up. Lock it up.
Whether you're a recruiting doomer or sunshine pumper, text the guys on the First Liberty Bank text line at 405-651-3439. And call your shot on the Riverwind Casino jackpot line at 405-329-9000.
Do it! Just do it!
Now, with Locked In, here's Parker Thune and Grayson Singleton.
What do Tennessee, Florida, Oregon, Oklahoma State, and Kentucky all have in common? They all got stuffed in a locker over the weekend by the illustrious University of Oklahoma.
I was about to say, did Oklahoma beat them for a recruit this weekend?
You know, Grayson Singleton, I think we're going to be able to do a show today.
We're always able to do a show.
Oh, yeah.
We could always find some BS to talk about.
But I think we'll have a few storylines on this Monday.
That's true.
And I don't think we'll have to look any further beyond what transpired over this weekend at Future Freaks. It got freaky at Future Freaks. That's for darn sure.
It got freaky?
It got freaky.
Were there any specific liquids that were involved with this?
Look at this man. His mind is
always
in the gutter.
You were the one that made the Diddy reference last week.
Yeah, last week. This is a new week.
So no Johnson.
We're keeping it straight edge on this program from now on.
So no Johnson & Johnson's involved with this one?
No. What there was on Saturday.
I'm sorry, what now?
What there was on Saturday was 5 new commitments added to Oklahoma's number 1 class in the 2027 cycle. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, on March 9th, 2026, 9 months prior to signing day for the 2027 cycle, the Sooners already have 19 players committed to play football at the illustrious University of Oklahoma next season. The Sooners do have the number 1 class in the nation, and they have the number 1 class by a wide margin. And you know what I realized over the weekend, Grayson?
What's that?
This staff makes you and me look like really smart men sometimes.
Yeah?
And frankly, we look a lot smarter than we did even just a year ago when Jim Nagy and this front office were still figuring things out in real time, still getting settled, still developing their processes and protocols, because the reality of the situation is I am exactly the same person, exactly the same journalist I've always been when it comes to obtaining intel. And if you listen to the show last week, we talked about the fact that there was a strong possibility Jamison Roberts was done this weekend. A strong possibility Greydon Howell was done over the weekend. We talked about the reality that Oklahoma led for Seneca Driver, even though some of the national predictions were still on Kentucky. We talked about the fact that Jaylen Scott and Tyson Ross felt like slam dunks. And here we are on Monday, and all of that has come to fruition. And it's a refreshing change from cycles in the recent past where Oklahoma has been trending for XYZ blue chipper, or they've had a big visit weekend where they've had an opportunity to rake in numerous high-profile commitments, and they fall short. And see, this is the difference, Grayson. This underscores the difference between the old way of doing things at Oklahoma and the new way of doing things at Oklahoma. Jim Nagy and his front office have helped this program turn a corner. I can't even tell you how many times in years past Oklahoma would be trending to pick up a commitment from XYZ player, and then it would all fall apart. Sometimes abruptly, sometimes in very slow, gradual, agonizing fashion. But what this staff is doing, what this front office is doing, repeatedly and with remarkable efficiency in this 2027 cycle, is establishing a foothold, establishing a lead in certain recruitments, and they are slamming the door with authority.
And I will add this, too. When you look at how many times we said the word layup, like how many players over the course of the last couple of weeks that we talked about it, and we just said, Make your layups with him. Make your layups with him. Make your layups with him. That tells me, wait a minute, getting it done with these guys shouldn't be that hard. Oh, I get it now. They're being more intentional with the guys that they're actually showing interest in and pursuing. And Jim has talked about this. Brent has talked about this numerous times. They're so intentional with the people that they're offering. They know, okay, you're from a family and a background that we think will fit with what we're trying to accomplish with our culture and with our program, which means that if you identify those players that are already going to fit, instead of trying to fit a square peg into a round hole, you can be more efficient with some of these guys. And that, I think, ultimately is the thing we haven't talked about enough that has led to what we have seen on the recruiting trail with Oklahoma. Because if you're already getting guys, if you're getting guys who already are a natural fit to the program, well, then it's not going to be that hard to close the deal. You just got to tell them, hey, you're going to be taken care of, you'll be equitably compensated, and we're good. Whereas in years past, without a general manager, without a front office, you're casting a broad net, sure, like you're supposed to, but you're getting everybody. You're getting guys that fit and guys that don't. But now that broad net is consisting of a lot more guys that are going to be more of a natural fit. And that's why I think we're seeing the efficiency and the closing speed that Oklahoma is showing now.
The best news of the day, Oklahoma has the number 1 class in the nation for the 2027 cycle. The second best news of the day, Yoda is back on the First Liberty Bank text line.
Hey, yo!
We have received a text from Yoda at 405-651-3439. He said, Yoda is back, Parker. Sunshine pumper I am. It's a dang good time to be a sunshine pumper, folks.
He has not texted since December 12th.
There is a lot of sunshine. Welcome back, Yoda. Great to have you. That's darn near a 90-day layoff for Yoda. Welcome back.
He's been hanging. Never mind. That might be a. You've seen Star Wars, right?
Of course I've seen.
I was about to say, was he? How was the exile to Dagobah?
A 316 listener accurately points out Seneca Driver wasn't a layup.
Oh no,
he was a
not.
heat check 3 from the logo.
Yeah, he was.
Holy cow, man! So I know we have a lot of diehards that listen to this show every single day, and they are intimately familiar with all of the commits that came down this past weekend for Oklahoma and the profiles of said players. And I know we have some people that listen on a more casual basis, or maybe this is your first time listening, and if so, we appreciate you. Maybe you're not terribly invested into all things OU football recruiting, and so let's run this down, and let's run this down chronologically, Grayson. The Sooners got the weekend started off right with a commitment from 4-star Saraland, Alabama quarterback Jamison Roberts. They had been the lead dog in his recruitment for months. The expectation was that it was a matter of when, not if, he would commit to Oklahoma. That got done on Saturday, and that gives Oklahoma their centerpiece at the most important position on the field. Did you want to add anything on Jamison Roberts?
Oh, no. I thought you were just going to run down the timeline. That's my bad.
No, it's all good. So, yeah, Jamison Roberts, really talented quarterback.
Yeah.
Blue chip kid.
Uh-huh.
Fits the mold, what Ben Arbuckle wants. Dual threat dude, 6'3", 200 pounds, good measurables. Somebody that, if he develops the way that he should at the collegiate level, he'll have a future at the professional level. No question. The second commitment of the day on Saturday. A kid that has really, really been a heavy OU lean for about 5 or 6 weeks, I would say, and that's Tyson Ross, the 3-star offensive lineman out of Andover, Kansas, suburban Wichita. Only 2 years of competitive football under his belt. He grew up playing tennis. Yes, tennis. But that lone year of offensive line tape that he put up at Andover High this past fall, Grayson, gets you really excited about what the ceiling's going to be for a guy like that under Bill Bedenbaugh. The third commitment of the day came from 4-star safety Jaylen Scott out of Mobile, Alabama. Childhood friend of Jamison Roberts, talented defensive back, versatile guy, can get all over the field and make plays in the defensive secondary. He had previously been committed to Florida State and Auburn. So this is his third commitment. I expect that this one's going to hold, though. He locked in with Oklahoma, certified blue chip kid, one of the finest safeties in America. And the heat check 3 from the logo, as that one texter put it, was Seneca Driver on Saturday night. And Grayson, this is a game changer. And we talked about it on Friday, and I said if you could guarantee me one commitment from the weekend, if any visitor, if you could guarantee me one commitment from the visitor list, but I could only pick one dude, I would pick Seneca Driver because at 6'7" and 240 pounds, he is an alien in the best way. The number one tight end in the entire 2027 cycle out of Danville, Kentucky, chose Oklahoma over Kentucky, over Notre Dame, and over Tennessee. And then you got a bonus commitment Sunday afternoon. And this one wasn't supposed to happen, Grayson. We mentioned there was a shot, and there was always a shot because the kid loves the University of Oklahoma and always has. But the plan wasn't for Greydon Howell, the 4-star athlete out of Broken Bow, Oklahoma, to commit after this one visit. We felt great from the outset, as soon as Oklahoma jumped in with the offer, that the Sooners were going to sign Greydon Howell to their 2027 class. But he went faster than the staff expected. He went faster than even his own family expected in making this commitment to Oklahoma. Dynamic dude, one of the most prolific overall athletes that the state of Oklahoma has produced in decades. And he is now committed to Oklahoma to play wide receiver. 4-star player, number 7 player within state lines per Rivals, and somebody that has a bright future in the slot at Oklahoma when he gets here next spring. So there you go. Those are the 5 commits that are on board for Oklahoma. Are we all in agreement that the one that resonates most deeply, the one that is most significant, not to minimize any of these commitments by any stretch because they're all significant, but to land Seneca Driver, the nation's number 1 tight end, in March, Grayson, what a resounding recruiting victory that is for Oklahoma.
And it says, welcome to the Jason Witten era of coaching tight ends at the University of Oklahoma, because he got his recruiting career started with a massive, resounding strike for him. And no, Seneca Driver does not fall into the category of layups, by the way, just to clarify to anybody who was wondering. He was not one of those people I was referring to. But for him to take his visit, hang out with Jason Witten, hang out around the program and say, nope, I'm good. I don't need to know about Tennessee, Jason Witten's alma mater. I don't need to know about South Bend, Indiana, up at Notre Dame, who's been perpetually putting tight ends into the NFL as of recent. I don't need to know about any of that. I like what I got here. That's impressive. And just to be clear, he is not taking any other official visits, is he?
He is not. He will be taking one official visit, and that official visit will be to the illustrious University of Oklahoma. I talked to Seneca Driver yesterday to dive into his decision, and he basically said, look, I've been to every school that I was considering going to, and Oklahoma's the best option for me. And Ben Arbuckle deserves a ton of credit. Jason Witten's going to get the majority of the credit. And obviously, his introduction to the equation was hugely significant. But Ben Arbuckle put an incredible amount of legwork into the Seneca Driver recruitment. I had one program source tell me Arbuckle actually put more work into the driver recruitment. There's an argument that he put more work into the driver recruitment than he put into the Bo Bentley recruitment, which is saying a ton if you remember that process last spring.
Uh-huh.
Ben Arbuckle visited, I believe, on 3 occasions with Driver and I shouldn't say visited with him, because you go visit him in season, you can't actually interact with him, talk to him. You can only go watch his game, show face, acknowledge that you were there, basically. But he visited Danville, Kentucky on 3 occasions over the last 6 months to help seal the deal with Seneca Driver. This was an all-out effort from everybody in that building, but the 2 figures that deserve the most credit, certainly, without question, are Jason Witten for being Jason Witten and Ben Arbuckle for all of the work that he put in to help set Oklahoma up as a serious contender for Driver's commitment even before Witten joined the staff. By the way, did you see the photo that his high school head coach posted to Twitter of Driver standing next to Jason Witten?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, boy.
It's a mammoth human being.
Seneca Driver is every inch of 6'7", folks.
Oh, yeah.
And if you need verification of that, go look at Jason Witten's listed height in the National Football League.
It's like 6'6", isn't it?
And then look at that photo of him next to Seneca Driver. Seneca Driver is a mammoth of a human and a freak of an athlete and somebody that the day he shows up at Oklahoma is going to make a serious impact in that offense. I would be stunned if that dude doesn't play and play a lot as a true freshman, because God don't make many like that kid.
Yeah, because, I mean, at that point, he'll be, 6'7", hey, potentially 6'8", if he keeps growing? 250 pounds?
He looks like a power forward.
Yes, he does.
And he could be a pretty dang good power forward if he wanted to pursue basketball, because he's a heck of a hooper as well.
Yes, he is.
Holy cow, man. The
Jeff,
Sooners got it done with Seneca Driver.
Jeff from OKC on the First Liberty Bank text line. Can we go ahead and name Witten Recruiter of the Month, maybe?
I mean, it's gonna be a hotly contested battle because the Sooners got 6 total commits in the last 7 days. But Jason Witten's son happens to be the number 2 linebacker in the nation. And he helped get him here.
Which I was about to say, that kind of bolsters the Jason Witten argument.
And in addition to that, he also just landed the number 1 tight end in America. In March. Like, here's the thing, Grayson. If Oklahoma and Jason Witten had been able to secure a commitment from Seneca Driver in, June, July, August after OVs, huge win. Impressive, right? The fact that they were able to get this kid to shut it down in March.
Mm-hmm.
9 months before signing day. 3 months before he would have had the chance to take official visits to Tennessee and to Notre Dame and Kentucky. And nope, he decided, I don't need any of that. I'm ready to be a Sooner.
Where do you think they stand with some other tight ends as well? Because I'm guessing Driver isn't the only one they want to take.
No, they would like Ben Kolar to be that second tight end. I feel pretty good about it. We shall see. 405-651-3439 is the First Liberty Bank text line, folks. We are just getting started. Gonna be a jam-packed show, as it usually is. But this show, even more jam-packed than usual as we continue to break down all of the fallout from the Future Freaks weekend. The show is brought to you today and every day by Dorsey Jones GMC in El Reno. Dorsey Jones is family-owned and operated. GMC offers some of the most reliable trucks and SUVs on the road today, and Dorsey Jones complements that with outstanding service, including half-price oil changes on Saturdays. The folks out there eager to assist you before, during, and after the buying process. Head out to El Reno and check out Dorsey Jones. And come on back with us on the other side. This is Locked In on the Ref, the home of Sooner fans.
Locked In is brought to you every day by Dorsey Jones GMC in El Reno. Dorsey Jones GMC is family-owned and operated with a knowledgeable, low-pressure sales staff here to help you through the buying process and half-price oil changes on Saturdays. Visit dorsey-jonesgmc.com for more information.
Motorcycle riders face extra dangers on the road because of distracted drivers. Each year, thousands of lives are forever changed by tragic crashes, leaving families to pick up the pieces.
We understand the emotional toll these crashes cause. Insurance companies don't. At McIntyre Law, we're here to level the playing field.
If you or a loved one has been injured in a motorcycle crash, call us at 405-777-7000. We are McIntyre Law, protecting Oklahoma riders one case at a time.
Feeling stuck in your current home? Now is the best time to make a move. Home Creations is making home ownership more affordable with low interest rate opportunities and special financing. Don't wait. Live like a champion today. Call Holly at 405-364-9999 to find your dream home.
364-9999 is Home Creations.
For the professional, it's not enough to just possess knowledge. That's why at GMC, we seek to refine it, to wield its power, to redefine its boundaries, while pushing the limits. And we put this knowledge to the test in every GMC Sierra by engineering each one to outperform your expectations. So you know you're getting precision and durability when you need it most. And that's what makes the GMC Sierra the truck worth knowing. We are professional grade. See your Oklahoma GMC dealers.
The big dance and big-time prizes are almost here from the home of Sooner fans. Mark your calendars on Monday, March 16th for the Refs' 25th annual 60-18 giveaway at the newly renovated Buffalo Wild Wings in Moore off 19th Street. From noon to 7 for your chance to win with the big dance or one of our many instant prizes. The Refs' 25th annual 60-18 giveaway is brought to you by Riverwind Casino, Armstrong Bank, the Central Oklahoma Buick GMC dealers, Buffalo Wild Wings, Mitchell's Jewelry, First Liberty Bank, McIntyre Law, Fowler Automotive, Cavens Group, First United Bank, Signature Custom Pools, DM Wealth Management, Valiance Bank, Signature Pool and Patio, Great Nations Bank, and many more. That's the Refs' 25th annual 60-18 giveaway, presented by Riverwind Casino, the Central Oklahoma GMC dealers, and Buffalo Wild Wings on Monday, March 16th.
Would you like to play a more active role in your health? At Hightower Clinical, we believe all Oklahomans should have access to new potential treatment options through clinical trial participation. Our team wants to support you with the best care possible through clinical trials. No health insurance is required. Compensation is available for eligible study participants, and study care is provided at no cost.
Having the chance to go through a trial and find out if something works for them and makes their life easier, I would recommend them do it.
To learn more, scan this QR code and visit our website.
Are our love bugs and companions. They are our pets, our family, and they make life better. When we face unexpected challenges, so do our pets. That's why we're on a mission to support people and their pets. Whether donating a bag of kibble, sharing an Instagram post of a lost cat, or welcoming a foster pet into your home, every bit of kindness counts. Visit petsandpeopletogether.org to learn how to be a helper in your community. Brought to you by Maddie's Fund, the Humane Society of the United States, and the Ad Council.
This is Mark Van Hoos, owner of Van Hoos Fence. Van Hoos Fence has years of experience and proven superior performance, kind of like a certain head ball coach.
We know Van Hoos Fence offers the best value and service for your residential, commercial, or sports fencing needs. Whether it's a new install or repair work, let Mark and his team at Van Hoos Fence be your trusted resource.
Call us today at 405-735-1167.
Save yourself from Googling it up. Go to vhfence.com. They will work with you in a great way.
Man, some of y'all just can't let yourselves be happy. It's a glorious day if you're a Sooner fan. It was a glorious weekend. Just let yourself be happy. Greg and Muskogee on the First Liberty Bank text line, 405-651-3439, said, "Let's not get too far out over our skis, boys. It's still early. Things can happen towards signing day with all these recruits." The Waffler added, "Parker, you need to calm down, man. He hasn't signed yet. He just committed. It's not 100% a done deal yet." Okay, duh. I realize that, Waffler. I realize none of it is a done deal until pen hits paper. But here's the thing, Grayson. When you look at the work that this staff and this front office has done to this point in orchestrating all of this, does this seem like the type of operation that's going to allow commitments to slip through their fingers in the waning days of the cycle?
Yeah, no, and then also keep this in mind, too. A guy like Seneca Driver, there's a reason I asked you to confirm that he's not taking other official visits.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's locked in. Jamison Roberts ain't going anywhere. If he's not going anywhere, Jaylen Scott's not going anywhere because we've talked about this. They're childhood friends, and they've wanted to play with each other at the next level, so they're not going anywhere. So that's where we are. This isn't just, hey, they committed, great. Like, they committed, and there's something else on the other end. Driver's not going anywhere unless he changes his OV slate. Jamison Roberts isn't going anywhere unless something unforeseen happens right now. So I would say to the Sooner fans, and this coming from the more neutral observer on this show, let yourself be happy for today. No need for the ifs, ands, or buts.
On the text line at 405-651-3439, Chris from Knoxville says, "Man, what a difference with a full year of Jim Nagy at the helm with this coaching staff." Amen to that. And the reason I am confident that all of these commitments are going to hold, and okay, You may lose one. You may lose two somewhere along the way. I don't know. Like Trayvon Hall, taking other visits. Damari DeJearn, probably taking other visits. There may be some ebb and flow with this class. But especially when you focus on the top-end dudes, Cooper Hackett, Caden Penny, Seneca Driver, Jamison Roberts, Crew Jones, etc. All of those guys. Part of the reason I am so confident that none of those guys are going to back out of their pledge to Oklahoma, and nothing is going to transpire between now and signing day that's going to disrupt their plans of making the move to Oklahoma, is because the staff has been very intentional, and the front office has been very intentional, I should say, about making sure that they are approaching these recruitments the right way. And here's what I mean. Obviously, I think it goes without saying, OU's not just outright dropping bags for these dudes. That's not the OU way, never has been. But there's also an understanding, hey, these guys aren't going to sign to play for us for $0. And they're not going to sign to play for us for $10,000. Like, we're going to have to make them competitive financial offers that they are comfortable with and willing to accept. But also, we have to give them enough reasons outside of the money to want to play here that they can get on board with the vision and they can be truly all in, like it says on the poker chips that these kids all commit with. And so what you have is a system where Oklahoma is incredibly good, as they always have been under Brent Venables. It's always been their calling card. They are incredibly good at cultivating and maintaining relationships. But they also have some absolute killers in the front office who, when it comes time to start talking business and talking numbers, are able to get the deal done. And they're adept at negotiations, and they can meet guys in the middle, and they can help guys see what the fair value for their services is, and they can act accordingly as they are getting down to the brass tacks and trying to finalize deals with these dudes.
And that is why you need a front office in this day and age, because that should not be on the plates of Brent Venables or Ben Arbuckle or any of the other members of the coaching staff, because they're coaches, not negotiators. I mean, hell, they don't even negotiate their own contracts, right? So taking that out of their hands has just been a godsend to the University of Oklahoma, that Jim Nagy's been able to come aboard and then bring along guys like Lake Dawson and Stacy Ford and all of those guys that can handle the business side of college athletics that we see today. And now it goes back to the coaches. Can you coach them up and can you win with them? That's what you're wondering now for Oklahoma. But the front office, round of applause to them. They should all be, at least for today, because the work's not finished yet, but they should all get a glass of wine or a glass of champagne or whatever and say, hey, successful weekend. We got more to go. Cheers. Let's keep it rolling.
Hey, can we shift real quick to our recruit of the day?
Yeah, let's do it.
Our recruit of the day, folks, is a feature that is brought to you every day by Drew England in particular. Not Drew England the individual, but Drew England's company.
Keystone Property Management. Discover your next home with Keystone Property Management in Oklahoma City, offering 3-bed, 2.5-bath townhomes at Edmond Town Center and spacious single-family homes in Oklahoma City and Edmond. They've got options that are available to fit your needs and budget, so contact Mr. England at 405-368-1836 or visit KeystonePMOK.com. Your key to better living.
Longtime friend of the program, Drew England. Thank you, sir. And thank you to Keystone Property Management. Our recruit of the day, the guy I want to highlight, and we got plenty of time to highlight each of the commits in the days and weeks and months ahead, but the guy I want to highlight today, as Oklahoma sits atop the national recruiting rankings with the #1 class in the nation, is the OG commit of this 2027 cycle. The guy that kick-started it all. And that is Luke Wilson, the 3-star offensive tackle from South Lake Carroll. And this is a guy that, just in talking to various folks around the program, that there is a lot of excitement about. And he does not get talked about probably as much as he should. Because you have the two in-staters, Cooper Hackett and Caden Penny on the offensive line, that Hackett's a 5-star, Penny's a borderline 5-star, and they're carrying the flag for this class. They also have awesome names, like strong names. Cooper Hackett, that's not a guy you want to line up against. Caden Penny, probably don't want to line up against that guy either. I don't know if it's just because he's a little bit more reserved or not as out there, or maybe it's because his name is Luke Wilson and he doesn't quite have that emphatic effect with his name that a guy like Cooper Hackett does. But Luke Wilson doesn't get talked about near as much. But he was the very first, man. He was the very first to jump on board in this 2027 class with Oklahoma, and he saw the vision earlier than anybody and bought the vision earlier than anybody. He committed to Oklahoma when they were still coming off the 6-7 season. And he had full faith and expressed as much at the time in no uncertain terms that there was a turnaround coming at Oklahoma for Brent Venables and that staff, and he wanted to be a foundational piece to that 27 cycle because he believed in what that staff was going to do in the 2025 season and thereafter to continue building toward championships in Norman. It's a lot easier to commit to a 10-3 team that's coming off a college football playoff berth than it is to commit to a 6-7 team that's coming off a loss in the Armed Forces Bowl and one of the most misfortune-laden campaigns in program history. But that is what Luke Wilson did. And by the way, Grayson, he's also a really good football player and a really valuable piece of this offensive line class for OU. The type of dude that even if he still kind of flies under the radar once he gets to OU, you might look up one day and Luke Wilson has been a 3-year starter at Oklahoma, and he's in position to be an NFL draft pick.
Yeah, and we haven't talked about it enough, but part of the reason Oklahoma is on this recruiting surge is because they went 10-3 last year and hosted a college football playoff game. Like, even though we want to celebrate the acumen of the coaching staff and of the front office, as we should, you can't gloss over the fact that, hey, winning kind of helps here. But in terms of Luke Wilson, I'm rewatching his highlight again, and 2 of his first 5 highlights are him winning reps against Zane Rowe.
Really?
I don't know if you remember.
I did not recall that.
but yeah, no, his junior tape, his first and I believe like his 4th is him emphatically, by the way, winning reps against Zane Rowe. But nevertheless, no, he is an excellent football player, and he's also a 3.9 GPA student too, which means, as Brent said in his presser earlier today, if those of y'all were tuning in for that, he said our guys are going to go to the classroom too, and they're going to turn in their assignments. And Luke Wilson excels in the classroom too. So, no, he's going to be a guy that flies under the radar. He's not a guy that's going to be out there on social media. Probably not going to be a guy who spends his NIL money on a nice little whip, drawing attention like that and whatnot. And you know what? That's okay. You need a mix. You need guys like Luke Wilson are going to do that. You need guys who, I don't know who else in this class would. Who in this class has the personality of, I'm going to go spend money on a new whip?
That's a great question. I don't know if anybody immediately jumps to mind in the 27 cycle, but it's always fun to have some characters.
That's what I'm saying. Like
we had local media today. Local media day today. We got to talk to Rocky Beers. Rocky Beers is going to be a content machine this year, man.
Is he really?
Rocky Beers was sitting there talking about board games and conspiracy theories, and it was amazing.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, you can't have a whole team full of I don't want to call them squares, but like. You can't have a whole team full of people who disgust the limelight, you know. You gotta have a good mix. But Luke Wilson is a hell of a football player.
Hey, you gotta have a few squares. You got to.
Not that Luke Wilson is a square. Not saying that. I did not say that. Parker. He's gonna be a good player though.
A less than exciting white.
Is that just because he's on the offensive line? Who knows?
Well, no. What's your?
I mean,
I'm just messing with you.
No.
Like he is exactly the type of dude, and like a guy like Ben Powers fits this category in years past.
Sure.
Even when he gets here and is playing and starting for Oklahoma, there might be other guys in his own position group that are more ballyhooed, but Ben Powers at this point has made like $80 million in the NFL.
Yeah.
And has been playing in the league for 8 seasons now?
Something like that.
Luke Wilson can be that type of dude, man, because he's just going to handle business.
Speaking of the NFL, Ben Kolar's older brother, Charlie, just signed a lucrative deal with the Chargers.
How lucrative?
Where's the Adam Schefter report here? 1 second.
I was hoping he would land somewhere.
Yes, 3 years, $24.3 million. 17 guaranteed.
I think I have him on my dynasty team. I'll have to double-check that. I'm pretty sure I picked him up at the end of the regular season, foreseeing that he was going to sign a big contract somewhere. So,
yeah.
Come on, Charlie. Norman's own.
Well, hopefully, is anybody in the West Coast really high on Ben Kolar? Because does he want to be close to his brother?
I don't think Ben Kolar is going to be playing his college ball at, I was going to say San Diego State, but the Chargers are in Los Angeles now, which I always forget. They'll always be the San Diego Chargers to me.
Man. I mean, that was our childhood.
Future USC Trojan, Ben Kolar.
Going back to Luke Wilson, though, I do want to tie that conversation up. Not only is he technically sound, he's got an underrated nastiness about him, too, that he plays with.
Yep.
Like, he's a mauler.
He's a mean kid out there on the field. Nice kid off the field. He puts the helmet and pads on. He transforms.
A text from the 918 says, just say conservative. What?
405-651-3439 if you want to chime in here. As we get ready to launch into our final segment of Locked In, The Rush is coming up at 3 p.m., but we got one more segment to come here before we call it an afternoon. This is The Ref, the home of Sooner fans. Keep it right here. More on the other side.
Entrepreneurs in Moore, Norman, and South Oklahoma City have an experienced business partner in their neighborhood. Moore Norman Technology Center's workforce and economic development team understands the challenges entrepreneurs and small businesses face every day. From building an effective business model to hiring the right employees and managing cash flow, Moore Norman's business development experts can help you move forward confidently and thrive, knowing that you have a skilled partner at your side. Learn more about Moore Norman's Technology Center by calling 405-801-5000 or visit us online at mntc.edu.
Luck is on your side this spring at your favorite casino.
So find your pot of gold at Riverwind.
Cheer on the Thunder from your favorite seat in the house. And enjoy the best food, drinks, and service in the Metro.
Win some serious cash with your wild card as our $250,000 Love Struck Club giveaway continues in March.
You know it's gotta be Riverwind.
The Gimme Zone is back. Join Golf Digest panelist Brian Vineyard and myself, Josh Helmer, every Saturday morning from 8 to 10 a.m. as we break down and dissect everything in the world of golf right here on the Ref and the KREF app. The Gimme Zone is brought to you by our friends at Van Hoos Fence, the premier fence company in Oklahoma. Hear from great guests and from the game's biggest stars as we spend every moving day with you. From February at Pebble Beach through the majors to the Tour Championship in September, the #1 choice for golf coverage in the state of Oklahoma, it's right here on the Ref.
Are you ready for spring sports season? Gear up like a champion with Balfour & Norman's exclusive apparel for OU softball, baseball, and gymnastics. From the diamond to the gym, we've got the latest shirts, hats, and fan gear that show your Sooner pride in style. Whether you're cheering in the stands or repping your team around town, Balfour of Norman has you covered. Visit us today on Campus Corner or online at crimsonproud.com. Balfour of Norman, where you'll find everything Sooner.
Belmar Golf Club offers a whole new world of recreation and excitement. Our Junior Olympic-sized swimming pool offers a family-friendly atmosphere with poolside food and beverages perfect for all types of summer pool parties. In addition to the best golf course in Oklahoma, Belmar is also a great place to hold corporate and fundraising events, as well as magnificent and memorable wedding ceremonies. Call 405-364-0111 or stop by 1025 East Indian Hills Road and check out our first-class facilities and exceptional service.
Hey guys, this is Lisa Talley, owner and broker of 828 Real Estate. 828 Real Estate is your premier full-service commercial and residential real estate brokerage and property management firm. With our team of real estate agents and specialized property management team, 828 is here for you in every capacity. Whether a seller or buyer, an investor or renter, please explore our website at 828re.com. 828 Real Estate, service with purpose. 405-701-8881. Call us today.
Come on down to River Bottom Nursery at one of their 2 locations in OKC. Now under new ownership, River Bottom serves both the commercial industry as well as the gardener and homeowner at both their plant and tree nursery locations. River Bottom Nursery has everything you need to make your yard paradise. Call them today, 405-735-3636, or swing by one of their 2 locations. RiverbottomNursery.com, Oklahoma City's premier tree and plant nursery.
As we wonder why our kids are struggling, someone is getting bullied. As we discuss how to improve their mental health, someone is being harassed on social media. As we wonder why they're skipping school, someone is crying themselves to sleep. Knowing the signs is the best way to prevent bullying.
Please just leave me alone.
Learn the signs at sandyhookpromise.org.
Parker Thune, Grayson Singleton with you here on Locked In. It is the Ref Sports Radio Network, the home of Center fans. On the First Liberty Bank text line at 405-651-3439, Mr. 405 says, can I get a birthday shout-out for today? It's my 25th. Yes, happy birthday, Mr. 405. However, please change his name to Young Mr. 405 because you don't get the Mr. 405 title until you're at least 40 years old. Sorry, I don't make the rules, Mr. 405. You're going to be young Mr. 405 for the next 15 years.
First of all, happy birthday, and I'm turning 25 this year as well, so you and I in the same boat.
Man, you're a youngin'.
You are not that much older than me.
I'm not, you're right. But, gosh, 25 feels like forever ago. It wasn't, but it feels like it. Recruiting Boomer says, I'll tell you, after this weekend's recruiting spike, it sure helps the mood when making that season ticket payment this week. Doesn't it, Recruiting Boomer? The athletic department sends you a survey. What's going well? What's not going well? In that little box where you're detailing things you like about the current state of OU athletics, just write Jim Nagy. Jim Nagy has been a revelation for this program. And not only him, but the staff he has assembled around him, which, yes, that says a lot about Nagy himself, the fact that he saw potential in each of these individuals that make up cogs in the machine that is Oklahoma football, but none of it happens. None of it happens if the first hire isn't Nagy himself. Blake from Wausau says, sorry, tuned in late. Did I hear Ben Kolar and USC? LOL. I was joking, Blake.
That was a joke.
It was tongue-in-cheek. I think Ben Kolar winds up at the University of Oklahoma. Sooner Bump says, PT 25 does feel like forever ago. You turned 50 a couple weeks ago, didn't you, Sooner Bump? I think that's correct. Tattoo Baker says, Parker, you said 4 or 5 will commit in the next 2 weeks, and the 5th will be later. Now 5 commits. Was it more than 5? I don't know where you're getting that, Tattoo Baker. Those were never my words. I believe what I told members at OUinsider.com on Saturday morning was I believe there are going to be 4 or 5 commits that go public in the next week or two. Because at that point, Oklahoma was tracking for 4 or 5 commits on Future Freaks weekend. And all of those dudes went public within 24 hours, which is amazing. There's nothing else that's immediately on the horizon for Oklahoma, definitively on the horizon for Oklahoma. I will say there are a couple recruitments in particular that I'm watching very closely moving forward. Some folks are going to expect me to say Gabe Osborne's name here. Not Gabe Osborne. That wasn't the direction I was going. I don't know what the timeline for Osborne is going to wind up being. He's an Oklahoma lean. That much is certain. That's the industry consensus. OU's the favorite for Gabe Osborne. When that gets done, I don't know. But it would not shock me if in the next couple of weeks, Gus Corsair is a Sooner. He's scheduled to take more visits this spring, but, man, he's even heavier of an Oklahoma lean after this weekend than he was going in. There's a decent chance. There's a decent chance those visits just come off the slate, in my mind, and he decides to jump on board with Oklahoma because he's been leaning that direction for a long, long time. Here's another one, though. I really like where Oklahoma sits with Sione Falila. 3-star defensive lineman out of the state of California coming out of the weekend. And you want to talk about a quick pivot. A couple of weeks ago, we were talking about the likelihood that Zane Rowe was going to be a part of this class. Then one thing leads to another. And it looks like Zane Rowe is going to commit somewhere that is not the University of Oklahoma this Friday. It could be Washington, could be Oregon, could be North Carolina. The Huskies kind of have the buzz there, but it's not going to be OU. And in the span of probably 10 days since that became clear that Zane Rowe was not going to be a member of Oklahoma's class, all OU did was just heat things up in a hurry with this 6'2", 310-pound demon from the state of California, get him on campus for a visit, and take the lead in his recruitment. That's efficient work.
Highly impressive. Jimmy Satterfield on the YouTube chat. By the way, KRAF Sports on YouTube. You can find Parker and I. He asks, is Swanson going to visit?
So he didn't make it in this weekend. He was supposed to, didn't make it in. This is no secret if you've been listening to the show for any amount of time, but I favor Texas in the Brian Swanson recruitment. And I favor Texas all the more so after he did not make it up to Oklahoma for Future Freaks. So I like Oklahoma and Corsair's recruitment. He could potentially be offensive lineman number 5. They hosted another O-lineman over the weekend, Isaac Cochran, that they're in good shape with as well. I'm not projecting that Brian Swanson winds up in OU's class. That will be a very impressive sway for Oklahoma if they're able to turn the tide with Swanson.
2 more questions.
Yeah.
One from the text line, First Liberty Bank. Greg from Blanchard says, how do you think we sit with Sparrow, Osborne, and Rowe after the weekend? And then Lucas asks, can we get an update on Gideon Gash?
Ooh, okay. Greg from Blanchard, Zane Rowe's not coming. He was not on campus for Future Freaks. He's not committing to Oklahoma this Friday. Wherever he commits, it is not going to be the illustrious University of Oklahoma. But OU leads for Gabe Osborne, as I said. They lead for Bodie Sparrow right now. And then it was Gideon Gash who was the other one.
Yes.
That folks are asking about, right? Oklahoma established a foothold, I should say, in that recruitment of the week. They got Gash on campus. Things went well. I don't know that they lead. I don't know that I would project Gash into the class, but Oklahoma's going to be in the fight moving forward. There are a few recruitments that absolutely will last until OV season. I think that is one of them, and we'll see what happens when everybody, not just Oklahoma, gets the chance to roll out the red carpet for Gideon Gash this summer. But I do think he'll OV with Oklahoma at this point. I do think that'll happen. Blake from Owasso says, what happened with Rowe? Dude's been on campus countless times. And Michael and Marlo asked, are they done with Rowe? Blake, I'll just say this. Your first guess is probably correct. And are they done with Zane Rowe? To my understanding, yes. I don't expect there to be any continuing, any lingering tension there between Rowe and OU. I think it's going to kind of be a clean break whenever he commits, wherever he's committing on Friday, and that's going to be that. Zane Rowe will move forward. Oklahoma will move forward. There's no shortage of elite talent right now on the defensive line. No shortage of elite dudes that are falling over themselves to come be a part of the number 1 class in the nation at this point, as evidenced by the fact that, like I said a few minutes ago, they took the lead for Sione Falila in the span of a single weekend. So, Oklahoma's not going to be looking over their shoulder over the whole Zane Rowe situation.
They'll be all right.
They'll be all right.
CD from Hockley says Gash or Blaylock.
It doesn't have to be either or, CD. And it's not either or. Because I will tell you this much. If Gideon Gash does commit to Oklahoma, cornerback is not going to be his primary position. They see him as one of those safety cheetah types, kind of like you were talking about last week.
No, that's exactly where I love him at.
Yeah.
I think corner would be not wasting his talent, but I think not utilizing it to the best effect.
Mm-hmm. So he may play safety, he may play cheetah, he may play both, but Oklahoma's got to get him on board first. They're in really good shape with Trenton Blaylock as well. This class, and I'm sure I don't have to say this because many of y'all are already getting this impression, this class could be huge.
Mm-hmm.
This class could be, and probably will be at this point, 30-plus commits, 30-plus signees. It's going to be the biggest class of the modern era for Oklahoma. And there's not that much work left to be done, all told, because, yeah, you have 19 commits, but there are a bunch of other guys, some of whom we've already referenced in this segment, Grayson, who are heavily leaning in OU's direction. I said about a month ago that I thought it was highly possible, perhaps probable, that Oklahoma would go into OV season with 20-plus commits. They might have 25 by OV season at this rate. I will freely admit, a month ago, I did not have Seneca Driver to Oklahoma on March 7th on my bingo card.
Well, nobody did.
Exactly. Some of this stuff has come out of left field a little bit, and it's due to immaculate work by Jim Nagy in the front office and everybody on staff that helped put the full court press on these dudes when they got to campus over the weekend for Future Freaks. This was as successful a recruiting weekend as Oklahoma has had in years and years and years.
3 more players I want to field questions on. Joe in Tulsa says, curious about a 6'3" linebacker that's 230 pounds, plays 30 minutes from Norman in Choctaw. Are we getting, as the third linebacker, Izzy Hammonds?
Well, they got to offer him first, which they haven't. So nothing there to speak of right now.
WF Sooner says, how about Juju Johnson? Haven't heard anything about him yet.
Yeah, that'll be a continuing battle. There's not going to be any decision in the immediate future for Juju, but Oklahoma did good work with him this weekend.
Last one, we've gotten a lot of questions throughout the last, I'd say, hour plus about Samaj Stanford.
Never say never, but likely not happening for Oklahoma. Likely not happening. And I know a few weeks ago we had the whole Bodie Sparrow, Samaj Stanford debate. And I mentioned that as much as I think Stanford is a really, really talented player, I'm partial to Sparrow. If Oklahoma continues to trend well in his recruitment, with already having Jaylen Scott on board, Samaj Stanford is another guy that they're not going to be agonizing over if they don't get him. Not that he couldn't provide value here, not that he isn't really good, because he is. But if you get Bodie Sparrow and Jaylen Scott, there's no complaining necessary over that haul. And the potential for a third safety, which, I mean, it loosely could be a guy like Gideon Gash, if you're able to seal the deal with him during OV season. Glenn from Nashville says, Parker, with regard to Rowe, you're tap dancing around it, so just say yes or no to my question. I'll take the heat off of you and onto me. Is it just down to money? Glenn, the negotiations as far as finances have been a big part of the I guess a big part of where things broke down between Oklahoma and Zane Rowe. Yes. A difference in expectations or belief as to what he's worth in the market, which is fine. I mean, guys are always worth different things to different schools. And if he can go get a bigger check somewhere else, more power to him. It's the way of the world these days. That's college football in 2026. Slim Brady says, crazy Case Alexander doesn't want to come play for the linebacker doctor. I don't know that I would say that yet, Slim Brady, because Case Alexander was on campus this weekend. I still got to touch base with him to see where exactly things stand coming out of that visit. I know he's kept his hand pretty close to the vest anyway, but the fact that he visited for Future Freaks is significant in its own right, because it was about a month ago, after all of the Penn State predictions rolled in, Grayson, that we said on this show, his presence or lack thereof for Future Freaks is going to tell you all you need to know about him in Oklahoma. If he gets back on campus for Future Freaks, you got a shot, more than a puncher's chance. If he doesn't show up on campus for Future Freaks, you can pretty much concede him to Penn State. So the fact that he was in Norman on Saturday speaks for itself. That tells you Oklahoma is still in the fight. It's going to continue to be a battle between the Sooners and the Nittany Lions. But Oklahoma ain't out of that thing. They are not out of that thing and should not be treated as such. Wow, folks. I feel like I'm just catching my breath. That was a jam-packed program. And there was a lot that we did not get to that will trickle over into tomorrow's show. And we are eager and have the expectation that you will be right back with us here on these airwaves at 2 o'clock tomorrow for the next installment of Locked In. But until then, for Grayson Singleton, I am Parker Thune. We turn things over to Tyler McComas and Teddy Lehman on the other side. It's The Rush next here on The Ref.